Welcome to the Occupy Democrat Show. I'm Mark Bland.
And I am Jason Cole.
And welcome to another exciting week of information for you guys in the political world. Joining myself and Jason as we do on Occupy Democrats every single Tuesday and Thursday, 4:30 p.m. Central Time. That's 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's all our information down there if you want to talk about us or get to us. Excuse me. Welcome to the show. Today we have an exciting show for all of you, Jason, because we have somebody who is amazing who's going to be on the show. That one person is Grant Stern, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We were able to pull the head of Occupy Democrats onto the show for a few minutes to hang out with me and Jason.
Yes.
And now, Jason, do you know much about Grant?
I know he's a fellow ODer.
Correct. He is a fellow ODer. Have you been paying attention to his stuff over the years? Like, have you been watching the stuff that he's had?
Over the past few months, for sure.
That's fair. That's fair. No. You know, certain people you find out about when you find out about them, and that's understandable and stuff. I've been paying attention to Grant Stern for a few years now, and I'm a fan of Grant. I like Grant. He's really good at what he does. He understands what the end goal is when it comes to this country and how we should be viewed and how we should run. And he doesn't back off from me. And we'll talk to him, Jason, because he just had a situation. We're going to talk to him about this on Newsmax, where they definitely were not fans of the Epstein file discussion. They were not a fan of the Epstein talk.
They are.
It was not one of their things, but I don't want to bury everybody with Epstein talk right now.
No.
Because simply this, I know we're going to have some of it on the show. Donald Trump has done more dumb things since the last show that we did. So therefore, there will be more dumb stuff to talk about in regards to, specifically, Jeffrey Epstein.
He is digging a hole for himself.
He is definitely digging a hole for himself. And hey, listen, aren't we all really good at digging our own holes? Aren't we? We really are. Some of us got really great shovels to do it with.
His is pretty deep.
His is pretty deep. His is pretty deep. All right, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get to all of that fun, and I mean fun when I say that, let us not forget that the rest of the world is still going on around the scenes. You know, Jason, there's still Pam Bondi running around telling everybody she's an AG, and you got people firing Comey's daughter you brought up, and now Comey's come out and talked about it. And you got all kinds of things just going on all over the world. And there's this thing, Jason, that I've been watching for the last few months, slowly become more and more popular. It's a thing called Jubilee. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes, I've seen a couple different ones. So
for anybody out there that might not be up to date, I'm not sure who puts on Jubilee. Outkick, maybe? Someone like that.
I'm not sure who exactly.
One of these politically motivated organizations, similar to Occupy Democrats, does a thing called Jubilee. And basically, they take a Jordan Peterson, or in this case, a Mehdi Hassan, someone like that. They let them sit down at the center table in the middle. There's a group of people that sit around, 20 to 30 people.
Yeah.
And then they take turns 2 to 3 minutes at a time. There's a timer on the table and stuff. They can come down, sit down, and start asking questions and going back and forth with whoever their guest is for the day. And each person kind of gets their shot, and then they have red flags. They can vote people in or vote people off. Or
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I thought they did like
right,
when they're sick of hearing your people can
if the conversation's going really well with the individual down there and they're liking what they're hearing, they'll just leave it alone and let that fly. And if not, they'll all raise their red flags and say, hey, we want to vote you off the island. Basically, somebody else deserves a shot to talk. Well, as I brought up, Mehdi Hassan, if you know who he is.
I do.
He is a British broadcasting host and past comedian, quasi. But that's not really the focus. He's a British broadcasting host who has become quite successful in the world of politics. And he was a guest on Jubilee. And Jason, I don't know if you saw all this, but
I've seen some of them. If it's the one I saw, this guy is a doozy.
Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at Mehdi Hassan and a gentleman by the name of Connor.
Wow. And if that autocrat kills you and your family, you're fine with that?
Well, I'm not going to be a part of the group that he kills, because that's the whole thing.
How do you know? Autocrats tend to kill everyone, even their own supporters.
Schmidt makes this point very well in his work. It's the friend-enemy distinction, right?
Carl
liberals,
Schmidt, the Nazi theoretician.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't care.
Are you a fan of the Nazis?
I frankly don't care being called a Nazi at all.
I didn't say that. I didn't actually say that. I said, are you a fan of the Nazis?
Well, they persecuted the church a little bit. I'm not a fan of that. But
what about the persecution of the Jews?
Well, I mean, I certainly don't support anyone's human dignity being assaulted. I'm a Catholic.
But you don't condemn Nazi persecution of the Jews?
I think that there was a little bit of persecution and stuff like that, which is bad.
We may have to rename the show because you're a little bit more than a far-right Republican.
Hey, what can I say?
I think you can say, I'm a fascist.
Yeah, I am. Absolutely.
I'm just checking who's clapping just to get my set of where everyone is on this. Because you know that millions of people are going to be watching you on YouTube and checking out who the fascists and the Nazis are.
I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever.
No, clearly you're not.
What a loser. What a complete tool. Just 6 million Jews were killed by the Nazis, in case anyone was wondering.
A controversial figure known as Connor, who debated under the pseudonym, you ready for this? Pine Sap. Hold on. We're going to get there, cat turd. Pine Sap is making headlines after being fired from his job following a heated debate with Jubilee's Surrounded series. Facing off against progressive broadcaster Mehdi Hassan, Connor openly identified as a fascist, endorsed autocracy, and shrugged off the Nazi comparisons. Excuse me. Even praising Nazi theorist Carl Schmitt. The debate, viewed nearly 4 million times on YouTube, sparked outrage when Connor downplayed the Nazi persecution of Jews while identifying as Catholic, claiming his firing was due to cancel culture for his traditional right-wing views. Well, hold on there, Connor. Connor launched a Give, Send, Go crowdfunding campaign, raised nearly $20,000, surpassing the $15,000 goal he had. Some donors left extremist messages, including neo-Nazi coded references like 88. Yep. Symbolizing Heil Hitler, if anybody out there doesn't know what the 88 stands for. The case has ignited debates over free speech and the ethics of crowdfunding for controversial figures. Now, I'm glad we had a chance to look at that together, Jason.
I guess he should have cared in the end, right?
I guess he should have cared.
Yeah.
You see, when people are telling you you should care right to your face, maybe you should listen to them, because Mehdi Hassan sat there a foot away from them, not over text, not over phone, and literally told him to his face, a foot away, you should be paying attention because this is something that is definitely not good for you right now.
I even told him, you're going to be viewed by millions, and they will separate the Nazis and the fascists, and he was like, ah.
By the way, Connor, we broadcast the Occupy Democrats show from St. Louis, Missouri. It is a red state, completely surrounded by a majority of Trump supporters.
Oh, sure.
And sure, could some of them be fascist? Of course, that's very possible. Out of the 3 million that sit in this area, that some of them could be very fascist. Are they racist? Sure, I'm sure they are, because we run into a lot of people in this area that can and can't be racist. I'm dead serious. It's on both sides of the game. Now, Connor, couple of things here. Number one, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be tough for me to discuss with this camera because everybody in America should be laughing as soon as I'm done with this. Between Pine Sap and Cat Turd, you guys have some real issues with choosing nicknames for yourselves or giving them to each other. That's all I'm going to say. These are not, listen, no one on a baseball, football, basketball, NHL team, no one's called Cat Turd. Johnny Cat Turd's big balls over there. He's not, nope, there's no Cat Turds. There's not even someone in baseball like, was it Paul Pine Sap Skeens? No. Old Pine Sap Skeens is out there doing the Pine Pine Saps. Nope. What is these dumb, stupid, and think about it. Think about this. Trump does it too.
Yeah.
He does it when he tries to be friendly with somebody. He walks up to them, and before he leaves, he tries to give a word or say something to him, like a nickname, almost a thing that, and then the nickname is always stupid. Like, oh, it's Sleepy Joe Biden because he's tired all the time. Okay, well, Cankle Don.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I don't do you see how dumb that sounds? Like, you got cankles. Mm-hmm. Well, we all seen them.
The best part of the Sleepy Joe stuff was Donald Trump's been viewed sleeping in public 10 times more than Joe Biden
exactly
ever has.
But these nicknames are stupid. They are based on the dumbest things in the background, in my opinion. This is my opinion in this case. But then to sit there and say, oh, like other traditional right-wing views. Like you said, you got canceled by losing your job for those views that we just showed there live on the camera. And you said it was cancel culture and it was because of your traditional right-wing views. That's not a traditional right-wing view.
Yeah. Well, maybe it is now.
The fact that the Nazis could be lumped in with them came after the fact.
Isn't that a shame, though, that $20,000 has been raised for someone who just espoused like Nazi, basically a kinship for Nazism, and people are giving him money?
Correct, Jason.
Right.
That is a real issue.
Remember the days when you lost your job because you were a jerk in public and nobody cared and thought you deserved it and didn't give you thousands of dollars?
Now, listen, to defend Connor on one piece in his little conversation with Mehdi Hassan there, I don't think it was fair. Like he said, the Carl Schmitt theory, like the theory, the way that he approached it, the way he looked at things, that's what Connor was putting out on the table for that part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Mehdi was not accepting that for whatever it was worth. He wanted to discuss, because he brought up Carl Schmitt, if he was a true Nazi, how deep of a Nazi he was. But the guy openly admitted, I'm a straight up fascist, and everybody clapped. So I don't know how much deeper you really need to go.
And how pathetic for them. You're clapping for that? You know what it is? It's red-pilled nonsense for people that don't understand what they're talking about.
Yeah,
they don't know the history. They don't understand. They just do it.
There's no American Nazi support base for these things. Like, I'm confused if it's such a traditional view, and everybody seems to be on that. And I get it. You raised $20,000, but actually, Connor, that shouldn't make you very proud or happy at all. Let me explain why. Jason, I'll even explain to you so that we're all on the same page together. Connor, if you openly went on a very popular YouTube show that just got seen by millions, and by the way, now it's gone super viral. So
that's
way more millions than ever we're going to see it before, okay? And the best you can do on a GoFundMe basically is 20 grand for the Nazi words, for the 88s, for all the bull crap that you just said, the fascism that you openly admitted. The best you can do is Stephen Miller and two dudes in his family to throw a couple bucks at. That's the best you could do out of 340 million Americans, 77 million that voted for Donald Trump too. 77 that voted for Trump. 77 million, at least 2 million of them, I guarantee, out of 77 million right-wing Trump supporters who voted for him, at least 2 are hardcore racists. 2 million are hardcore racists, at least. Out of 2 million full people, you couldn't get more than $20,000 donated to you. I'm not saying that we could do better or worse. I would think if it's such a traditional value, if it's so normalized, if it's where we are at in America because Trump's president, this is how you feel, and everybody claps, you should have made a lot more money than that, bro. So that tells me how little people rock with your fascist ideals and the belief that anything you said has weight.
Well, it could be that the other Trump supporters have also lost their jobs recently, and they don't have the money to gather up the funds to give Connor because they're also unemployed for saying things that Connor did.
Yep. No, you're right, Jason. Like, I feel like Donald Trump has done enough damage in these first 6 months now to where everybody has opened their eyes enough to where they're noticing things. They're seeing it. Now, where it lays out beyond this. Also, Connor, all of you out there, bootstrap guys, the bootstraps. Remember pulling the bootstraps up and
go get a job, Connor.
Getting out there and busting your butt and finding another job. So, you lost that job. You didn't find that job. Maybe you could get on. Hey, listen, you know what I've been told, Jason? There's a lot of brand new jobs in America. That's what I've heard.
Quite a bit in California.
Oh, my goodness. Dude, if Connor moved, listen, that might have been in California, but if Connor moves to California, he could work. He could work in any of the fields.
Yeah, do you like working outside with your hands, Connor?
He could get on the corn, the crops. Right? He could get into any of the things that anybody, roofing, houses, siding. Connor, you know what? I feel bad now. I feel bad. Jay, listen, you and me, I feel bad now. Do you want to know why I feel bad?
Yes,
I feel bad because you and me went on this show and we specifically outed ICE for going after all those Home Depot parking lots.
Yeah.
But there's a Home Depot in almost every city, and I guarantee you I could have sent Connor down to the Home Depot parking lot.
All right.
There it is. Connor, you could have gotten a job.
Connor.
Right there. Remember, they're only going to arrest all the illegals. You'd scream, I'm a fascist. I'm a fascist. I'm just like you with your mask up. Give me the words ICE on my chest. I'm just like you. I'll do the job that Pedro over here is getting arrested for and going to Alligator Alcatraz on.
You know, if I was Connor, I would take some of that $20,000. I would buy me a ticket to Washington, D.C.
A lottery ticket?
And go to the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. And think how cool everything that you think is. Walk around there, look at the displays, and wonder out loud how cool this all is and how much you don't care, because I bet you would care. And if you don't, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, Con Dizzle, by the way. Con Dizzle 1989 sounds a lot better as a YouTube or a Twitter handle than Pine Sap. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I don't even know what I don't even understand.
But what is this attraction with names like Cat Turd and Pine Sap of people on the right wing being drawn to those types of individuals? I went back and looked. Guy does have some people that follow him on his Twitter. Like, it's not like he was just like, hey, nobody knows anything about me. I got 200 followers and that's it. Like, no. He's in conversations. People are, bringing him up. Like, so, yeah, dude, you went by the name Pine Sap. I'm really confused.
Yeah. I feel sorry for his parents and his family, too, that now have to deal with this version of Connor.
Now, Jason, I would like to move on.
Yes.
I have got you know what, Jason? I have got a story here that I think lines up perfectly with a video that you brought. Now, the video you brought's about prices, correct?
It is.
Well, hey. Do you think that we could bring up Jason's video about prices real quick? Because I got something to tag on that, and me and Jay are going to, jump on that bad boy.
Prices are coming down, not going up. Only the fake news says they're going up. The only thing that's even are interest rates. And if we had a Fed chairman that understood what he was doing, interest rates would be coming down, too. He should bring them down.
He should. Except that's not true. You know, the only good news that Donald Trump has for his economy, he even lies about that. It's gas. Remember, before we came in the air, I told you the national average for gas is $3.16 a gallon. And that's down from this time last year, which was $3.52 a gallon. But he just can't take that win. He has to lie and say it's $1.98, which it's not anywhere.
It's not. And by the way, just so everybody out there knows, that was based off of a press conference on the backs of this. A new Department of Agriculture figure shows beef prices are up 9% this year, Jason.
Yes.
Hitting record highs. The price surge is being blamed on Trump's import tariffs, especially affecting things like coffee and bananas, where the U.S. relies on foreign supplies. Yeah. So, adding fuel to the fire, the Wall Street Journal report revealed that while competitors like Walmart are cutting costs, Amazon is raising them, passing on tariff costs directly to consumers. The company reportedly considered labeling items with tariff warnings, but the White House allegedly shut that down, calling it political. Now, to get back to your original point on your story, since we're going to discuss these prices and where we're at and all this before we see and talk to Grant Stern. We brought up on this show back when we first started it a couple of months ago, the screenshot of the prices on Temu with the import tariff being labeled on it. And then we said that Amazon was talking about it at the time.
They backed down from that. They got weak.
But they have brought it back up, and now they've brought it back to the attention of the White House. And now the White House is shutting it down, saying, oh, you're trying to be political. Now, Jason, let me ask you a serious question. You just brought up the $1.98 gas.
Yes.
You just brought up how this guy has said we were going to have cheaper gas, cheaper prices, cheaper this, cheaper that. We don't. 9% raise on beef prices. The eggs have never really gone back down. You said
yes.
I said all of these things over here, right? With Walmart and Amazon and the tariffs and this, that, and the other. But some you said to me off the air, I want you to tell everybody on the air, because I think it's the most important thing.
Which one was that?
About the gas. Because what's going on right now that he could take advantage of?
Oh, yeah, no, he could say the gas prices, look, they're cheaper. It's 10%, but it's true. But he chooses the lie instead of the truth. The truth is still good. It's 10% cheaper. Now, some of that is due to demand. People aren't traveling like they used to. But he doesn't take the win. That's a true win to say it's 10% cheaper. He has to lie because of $1.98. That's what he said he was going to do, and he can't because it's impossible.
And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is why me and Jason have jobs here at Occupy Democrats.
That is.
Simple as that. Do you see the big picture? You pull off on the big picture, and you can see, in general, if you wanted a big win, a feather in your cap, you could easily take it. And it's right there. We're telling you exactly what Jason literally just explained to you exactly what it is you could take advantage of.
And the beef, that's 8% of that is just since May. Just since May. So
since May,
in the last 3 months-ish, 2.5 months, it's gone up 8%. It's not going down. This is the thing. Like we said, he could have had the 10% gas bump. He doesn't take it. That's not enough for him.
And let's not forget either, Jason, starting on August 1st, a new round of chaotic tariffs are set to hit the metal, electronics, and more, triggering price hikes across many other industries. Critics say Trump's policies are reigniting inflation and crushing the middle class, calling it economic sabotage wrapped in populist rhetoric. Okay, Trump's rich. You're not. You work 40 hours a week for whatever it is you make. He crushes you out, gets rid of Connor from his job, gets rid of this. There's no other jobs for Connor and Pine Sap and everybody else to get back to. Now he's rich. He goes on after 4 years. You don't have a career that you were 17, 15, 10 years into at the time, had to leave it because things got screwed up with these tariffs. Things became more expensive. Companies had to shut down. By the way, these tariffs are going to affect small businesses as much as large. And when you live in more rural parts of the country, it's not that Ford is literally employing 3 million people in the St. Louis area. It's not Dodge and Ford that's doing that. No, they do have factories here, but it's not the entire area. There's a lot of small businesses, restaurants, companies that are going to get hit with these higher price hikes.
Yeah, the consumer price index is not a political tool. It's used forever. And food at home, which is stuff that you buy at grocery stores, increased 2.2% in May. That's from May of 2025 to 2024. In June, 2.4%. Poultry, fish, eggs, 5.6%. Even though eggs have went down, they're still above last year. Everything is up from last year. It's not left-wing, right-wing media. This is information from the government he oversees. Like in July, they're expected to be up about 2.4% based on these May and June numbers. Here's the scary thing, though. This rise in these costs do not represent tariff increases. None of this is tariffs. Most of this is some of the shortages of the pre-COVID or the COVID era supply chain issues. Some of that is that those stockpiles are dwindling now, so prices are going up for that. Tariffs aren't even in this yet.
Yeah, there are still things that we are recovering from worldwide.
Yes.
From COVID still. There are parts of the world that you weren't involved in that took COVID in a much different way and the way they focused on it. And those places, they still wear masks everywhere that they go. And that's just the way that they are where they're at. At the same point, why? You're a Republican, Donald Trump. Remember, hey, Jason, you remember those kids in school that used to try to cheat off your test?
Sure.
Right? But then the minute you told them that they couldn't cheat off your test anymore, they would just mark whatever answer they thought was right. And then eventually would just turn the test in and say, I got an A. Yep. I did great. I'm just like Jason over here. Cheated off his test.
Got an A.
I got an A. But then when Jason got his test back, he's got an A written on it because he did the test. And when you get your test back, you got the 2 that you cheated off Jason's answers right, and the other 8 are wrong. And then you're sitting there trying to be out on the kickball field like, hey, I got the same grades Jason did. Pick me for kickball. And it's like, no. See, here's what we're trying to tell you, Republicans. Cheat off our test. You should be cheating off our test right now. In fact, every time Donald Trump tries to cheat off our test, which is go back to the stuff Biden was doing before he was president, right? I'm going to change it all. Wait, what's Biden's test look like? Oh, just don't raise those tariffs? All right, I'll put a 90-day hold on that. See? And it's just like, no, you cheat off his test and then you figure it out. Oh, that's the way to get the right answer. The liberals were right all along.
And you know what? You mentioned the tariffs, and you're right. This is why we have these pushing out these different dates, different starting times, because he knows once he starts this, prices are going to shoot through the roof. So he's trying to drag this out and make you think things are cheaper when they're not. You can look this up, right? Like, and people are always saying, like, you just want to make the right-wing people mad. You want to make them mad. No, we want you to be informed. I'm not trying to make you mad. I'm trying to tell you things that will help you. You should listen.
All right. Last thing I want to play before we hit this break and we talk to Grant Stern. Can you play that video of Donald Trump sitting there talking about Democrats real quick?
I don't understand why they would have allowed that. There's only two reasons to vote. Is they want voters? That's one reason. I don't think they would have done it for that because they cheat. You know, they're so good at cheating, they don't need that. But the vote, and the second reason is they hate our country.
All right, cut it there.
I think they hate our
fine.
country.
Just cut it there. I don't even need any more than that. Listen,
You know what? Someone should run and be like, Donald Trump hates our country.
Donald Trump does hate our country. Ladies and gentlemen, the other side is going to have a name. Listen, when the Jews want to really hate somebody in the Gaza Strip, they have to give them a name. Hamas, Palestine, whatever, they give them a name. The other side, or the other, could be the Green Party. I don't see Trump complaining about the Green Party.
No.
What about the America First Party? I don't see him talking about that. Hey, what about the America Party that Elon Musk is putting together that's supposed to be hitting everywhere soon? And
that one he might attack.
He might, but I don't see it.
No, it's not yet. He doesn't even mention it.
Your problem is Democrats are the other popular party. They win. And the reason they win is because they bring things to the table that make sense to people. By the way, you said the Democrats are really good at rigging elections. We've had this discussion on the show.
Yeah.
So good at it that we did it. We smoked you by, 10 million votes almost? 88 million to 76 million or 74 million, whatever it was. A whole bunch of votes to a lot of little for you. And then in the 2024 election, after we had already proven in 2020 that we could do it, we just were like, no, the guy that we did that against the last time, we don't need to do it anymore. He's fine. Just let him just do his thing. We're cool with that. Right. See? Donald Trump's even stupid to that, guys. He's dumb on your economics. He's dumb on your pricing and your policies. He's dumb on the way politics works and the interactions between individuals. He doesn't even listen. Don't listen to Toby Gasser or whatever. It doesn't even matter. Her name doesn't even matter.
It doesn't.
Do you see? We're messing her name up trying to say it, and we don't even care because she's that unimportant of a character, trying to pretend she's in The Boys all the time with her one little streak through her hair, like she's a Marvel villain. Like, what are you doing?
Right? It's the same stuff as the first administration he had. It's a bunch of people ruining their reputations, trying to appease the most moronic man to ever be president.
And the difference is that everyone in the first administration was smart enough to bail, write a book, and make money off of it.
Yeah.
You guys are going to destroy your careers, lose everything that you've ever had, and no one except for Pine Sap is going to want to watch or talk to any of you ever again. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to take a quick break here on the show. When we come back, I'm excited, Jason.
I'm excited too.
Grant Stern from Occupy Democrats is here to join us, and we will be talking to him. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Occupy Democrat Show, ladies and gentlemen. And without any further ado, Jason,
right back in it.
We are right back into it. And joining us live on the air now is our friend Grant Stern from Occupy Democrats. What's up, Grant?
Hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going fantastic, sir. Thank you so much for being on the Occupy Democrat Show with us and hanging out. We appreciate the busy time out of your day.
Hey, glad to hop on.
Now, if I would be so bold right off the bat, you just had an interesting Newsmax back and forth that, hey, leads into some of the stuff that we wanted to talk about anyway, so we might as well get into it. You went on Newsmax, and evidently, Grant, they don't want to discuss the Epstein files at all. That seems to be the lay of their land.
You don't say. I mean, all of a sudden, after years of conspiracy theorizing about Jeffrey Epstein and promising that we would get some clarity, all of a sudden it's let's send Congress home for 6 weeks and let's send them home early just to make sure they don't have to release any Epstein files for another 6 weeks. This is kind of like Napoleon's idea that it was a great idea to go into Moscow when you saw that nobody was there.
Yes.
You know, like here we are. And the pressure is building, and it's been building. And a lot of people who are really the important part of the MAGA base are revolting over this.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them are talking about it. Not just it started with the prominent ones, but they've calmed down because there's money, you know, so they're kind of being led by the dollar. It's kind of like you know, Donald Trump is kind of like a little kid sitting on the top of a shark with a stick and a carrot in front of it, and he's trying to guide the shark around. And that's what he's doing with the MAGA media. But the people on the grassroots, they're not going to accept this lie. They're not going to accept move on here.
No, they're
not going to show up and vote anymore for this. This is, I think, a real divorce between the actual people who cast the ballots on November 5th and Donald Trump, the person who casts all the crazy things from the White House.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's a
good way to put
That's a very fair assessment on what we're dealing with. And you brought up Mike Johnson and Congress in making this decision out of the complete blue. And
not complete blue.
Well,
come on,
yeah,
man. They have to protect Donald
We
Trump.
can all kind of see that it was coming, maybe, or something. These type of moves are going to become the norm of what they do. Obviously.
Well, the Republicans had a revolt. Okay, they had an actual revolt in the highest ranks of the House of Representatives on the Rules Committee. And that's what caused all this. You know, so a few of the Republicans said, okay, even we want to see these Epstein files. Let's do this. We're going to require Congress to vote on this. And he said, you know what? Rather than vote, let's just go home. Let's go on vacation.
Yeah. And when I brought that up, I wasn't saying that like people didn't see it coming in general. I was talking about your more mainstream daily individual political person who are less political person than us. Like your mainstream middle class person who goes to work every day, doesn't really focus on the politics and all that. All of a sudden, we might have seen rules committees and things happening over here. They just woke up to news today that all of a sudden Congress was just done and going to take a break. And they don't have a real reason for it. And we all know it's the Epstein thing. But
no, they have a real reason for it.
Congress, this is useless.
No, I mean, they came out and said, we're not going to have a vote, and then they adjourned. It's not like they didn't say it. They said it. You know, what else do we need here? I mean, they're the ones who set the rules. They run the House, so to speak, and they can't run their own House. I mean, this is just normal for the Republican Party. They're not very good at governing, but they are very good at telling lies to get some votes.
Oh, that's fair.
Here we are.
That's very fair. Now, Grant, you've been doing this a long time, a very long time, and the game has changed a lot since the first days of you being involved, even with Occupy Democrats. And I'm not sure exactly how far back you go with them because I don't know a lot of your background in that regard. But if this goes back to Occupy Wall Street days, the way that we even approach on the liberal side or even moderates, just from the left over onto their own side, the way that we approach these things is different. You even had a situation where you were kicked out of press conferences by Ron DeSantis specifically a few years ago in a time period when we weren't dealing with any of the crap we're dealing with in the last 6 months, any of this Trump stuff right here. You were dealing with these people coming down on liberals as we move forward over that time. Now it's obviously worse in the mainstream media side. Behind the scenes, for you, has things gotten better? Is it worsening? Are you seeing other avenues opening up? Tell me how things look from your point of view doing this for so many years.
I mean, I think it's a terrible time to be a journalist, and a good time in some regards, but mostly a terrible one because the entire system of supporting journalists is destroyed. I mean, here I am almost 4 years later trying to scramble to file a lawsuit to get compensated for the 26 doctor visits, the MRIs, the therapy sessions, all of that stuff. The Democratic Party, Democrats in general, ACLU, nothing. No, there's no support for journalists in this country today. You know, we don't do it because of money. We do it for love, but you have to at least be able to support yourself to actually be able to be a journalist. So if you can't support yourself at all doing it, then how can you do it? You know, unfortunately in this country, we've allowed, you know, these tech oligopolies to run wild. And I mean, look at it, you know, like you can't go onto the internet unless you work with one of like 7 or 8 different companies that just control your pipe, your distribution, where you're searched, your platform. And these things can change at random. It's not a good situation, but specifically being here in Florida, nationally, Democrats did not want to pay attention to Florida. They've just kind of said, well, we could write off Florida because we don't think we're going to win there. Didn't do too good with Joe Biden, which is not a surprise because people don't understand the mistakes that were made in the Obama era regarding Latinos and the fact that Obama was trying to compromise with a party that didn't actually make a compromise with him. And as a result, he compromised that relationship, and that affected Joe Biden. And that affected us through this day. But in Florida, we're used to Republican authoritarian socialism. It's disgusting. It's ugly. But we've experienced it for so long that, you know, none of this is surprising. In fact, this is all things that what you see from Donald Trump is all things that started in the city of Miami, started in Miami-Dade County, became something that happened in the state of Florida. And then eventually Trump took it national. A lot of it came from Rick Scott. Okay. Sure. Let's just be real here. Rick Scott really trial ballooned a lot of the worst things that Donald Trump does before he does them. And,
well, where's Donald Trump spend most of his time? Mar-a-Lago.
Well, he moved to Florida.
In
That's
Florida,
why he moved
getting
to
news
Florida,
every morning from Florida. So, yeah, he's sitting there watching DeSantis behind the scenes, and his people are, and they're like, oh, yeah, we like that. Yeah, we like that. Yeah, we like that. No, we don't need
actually,
you.
It's more like he took some former DeSantis people into his team.
Oh, I did not know.
You know, like
that.
Susie Wiles and such.
Oh, well, yeah, Susie Wiles, for sure.
You know, so, and some of the people, he Florida-ized his entire team. You know, that's really what it boils down to.
So these people like the back of your hand is what you're saying, Grant.
Well, yeah. And also Democrats have been studiously ignoring the news media, journalism, you know, the importance of information within our own party, and specifically Florida. Florida is like this mental block for Democrats outside of Florida because they think, well, geez, you know, if we just ignore it, it'll go away. But actually you ignored it, and now they are going on television and saying we want to turn America into Florida. That's actually what the Treasury Secretary has been saying.
You're kind of making a great point because think about it. If you said you've been living in Florida for all these years and that's just kind of the normal day business that you guys deal with every day down there anyway, the rest of the country or the states in the country that are red states, they've been saying, oh, we're a red state just like Florida for years and years and years. Now they're starting to get a real taste on the mainstream side of what that physically looked like coming from Trump in the White House over there in Washington, D.C. And so now they're like, the ones who weren't ever getting a taste before are like, oh, yeah, we love that so much here where we're at because that's just who we want to be too. And the rest of us are like, this is horrible. This is the worst that it could ever, like, this can't get worse. Oh, wait.
But here's the thing. Florida is a very unusual state because we attract a lot of people who are wealthy after the careers are over.
Oh, you get a lot of mix, yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is that they're paying less in income taxes already because they're retired, right? Retirement income is taxed at a lower rate.
Sure.
And then they come here to Florida, and Florida has a regressive tax system, okay? Regressive. People don't even know what that means because the United States income tax system, by its nature, is supposed to be progressive.
For sure.
It was always created as a progressive tax. In other words, the more you progress through the income scale, the higher the tax, right?
Sure.
But instead in Florida, they flipped that all on its head. Florida is supported by sales taxes. Now, newsflash, a tariff is a sales tax on something imported. This is a backdoor national sales tax that Donald Trump has created. Okay? And what are sales taxes? They're regressive because they take up a bigger portion of a poorer person's smaller earnings than it does a wealthier person. Nice. If a wealthy person pays $750 this year in tariffs, which is about what every man, woman, and child in the United States of America has paid in just 6 months, right?
Correct.
If that wealthy person pays $750, they don't even notice it. If your net worth is $10 million, if you're making $1 million a year, that $746 is not important to you.
Well,
if you make $15,000 a year, if you make $50,000 a year, even let's just say, that $750 is something out of your budget that's gone.
Well, and those people are the ones who the tax break that he gave them, theirs expires at the end of 2028. The millionaires doesn't. So not only is he not affected by the $750, he's got a forever tax cut to look forward to.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to get a tax cut next year, maybe. That's going to help maybe pay for the huge tax increases you're paying this year, right?
Yeah.
With these tariffs that are sales import taxes. And again, in Florida, we have these property taxes that pay for all the rest of the state's functioning besides, like on the local level, besides the sales tax, right? Those are two big revenue streams. And tourist taxes as well. These red states don't have a wealth of tourist taxes to waste money on. Right? They don't have toll roads that throw off cash everywhere, that they, instead of lowering the tolls, they just try to find new projects. Florida is a gold mine of, natural resources that are converted into income streams, but it's a regressive taxation state. And that's what they're patterning the United States into. They want to get rid of the income tax. They want these sales taxes to be the thing. And again, somebody who makes less money pays a lot more for them percentage-wise, and it's ideal for them.
I find this funny, though. Do you know why? Because isn't the whole point of being a Republican half the time being a fiscal
lowering
conservative?
Taxes?
About being a fiscal conservative. Yeah. It's about the fiscal side of things, right? And if you're
raising
fiscal and
taxes
you want to make
is
money,
fiscally responsible.
But if you want to make money, I want to keep as many people in the middle class employed. I want to keep raising the taxes on the middle class to try to get as much money from them as I possibly can. I don't understand how the idea of even killing off a section of people by hammering them down until they financially can't do anything anymore and then they're just useless. I don't see the benefit. I just don't see the benefit.
What they're trying to do is trick a bunch of low information voters into
voting against
money.
Their own interests, and they did it.
Yes.
Well, that's all they ever do.
But they usually
It worked well.
They're going to run out of things to use. Immigration is working for now. Abortion used to be. That's gone.
Even immigration immigration only works in certain places. And it works in places where they're not doing these deportations, which, by the way, Florida, as much as it is a red state, right?
Sure.
They're going after a huge chunk of the people adjacent to their base. People their base hangs out with, knows, friends, family.
Yeah.
Their communities.
It's deeper than what people talk about. Yeah, keep going.
Well, let's just talk about this. What does the number 65 million mean to you?
That's the alligator Alcatraz.
Oh, yeah. There's 65 million Latinos that are going to alligator Alcatraz. That's what I heard.
Well, this is my point, that they've, the main propagandists for the Trump administration, they've gone past the point of saying, hey, this is about getting rid of illegal people. They're saying the problem is that we need to designate more illegal people. And this is what Trump has been doing from the beginning that's upset so many people, okay? Donald Trump said he was going to kick people out who were not here legally and who were criminals, right?
Correct.
But he did not campaign explicitly on saying, I am going to remove the legal status for millions of people who are living and working in America and then kick them out, which is his strategy for the mass deportation, right?
Have you heard
of Which is a terrifying, horrible thing to do.
Have you heard of remigration, Grant?
I mean, remigration is what about remigration?
Well, it's basically what you just explained. We've talked about it on the show a few times. It's a very popular thing behind the scene on the Republican side. It's kind of tied to a deeper part of Project 2025. But the idea of remigration is just getting rid of human beings out of a country and never letting them back in. Doesn't matter if they were born there or not.
Okay. In the rest of America, we just call that racism.
There it is. Exactly. That's right. Oh,
but this is my point, that they hid these intentions. They got a lot of Latino voters. Okay. I mean, 65 million people in America have Latino descent. But maybe like a quarter of those are like first generation citizens who are, from a Latino country that live here today and have citizenship. But still, this is, the slow reveal. Right. And now you have people saying, I didn't vote for this and I didn't vote for that. And, the people who are losing their family members, this is very prominent in the Miami media right now. OK, people who, like this Cuban woman who voted for Trump and posted about it on social media. Her son got convicted of a minor sex crime when he was like 19, dating a 15-year-old girl. The Romeo and Juliet exception is not always so clear. People made mistakes, whatever. I'm not defending him. He made a mistake. He got convicted. He did his time. But this is a person who's lived in the United States for decades, likely not to reoffend. He's not going to be 19 anymore.
Sure.
And a 4-year age gap. I mean, I don't know what to say. This sounds like a circumstance where, this person was living here for decades without incident. And then, of course, now they're going to deport this person to a country they've never been to. And this is the Donald Trump immigration strategy. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's just the hardcore ideologues love to say how great it is.
Well,
but what's the net result, right? What's the net result?
Well, he's losing a little bit of support with this deportation thing, going to Home Depot, showing up to these factories and these farms.
Well, he's killing the American business owners that rely on these people who have legal status to do the work.
Small businesses too. Some of them are just small businesses.
No, most of them. And the thing is that you can't replace the training that people invest into their employees overnight.
Correct. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, that's a main piece a lot of people are failing to understand and recognize in America. That there are people losing their jobs that took decades to get there.
But
small business people are getting whacked.
But
absolutely whacked.
Losing some of the momentum of the deportations, it makes me wonder who right now currently in this administration is going to be that scapegoat for the Epstein stuff, because he needs to get everyone back on his team. And so there has to be someone that's going to be the reason why it's not coming out, because everyone wants it, because he's going to lose.
Grant knows it. Grant knows who it is. I know he knows it. Who is it, Grant?
He's going to lose that red pill.
There's only one person.
Who's that person?
Look, there's only one person that could be the ultimate scapegoat for Donald Trump not releasing the Epstein files.
James
and that person's
Comey.
name is Donald Trump. See, here's the problem, right?
They've already tried to Donald Trump every time.
Look, they've already tried blaming Pam Bondi, right?
Sure.
But she is indispensable to their terrible mass deportation scam, okay?
She's on board.
Indispensable to carrying out the worst abuses of the Department of Justice in the history of the department.
Well, and she's already shown that she's okay with covering for him. She did it when she was AG of Florida with the Trump
this is exactly my point. The Florida to America corruption pipeline that no Democrat seems to want to interdict or stop, right? And so she's got a lot of experience here. She's in the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the issue. They can't let her go, right? Even letting her go just sets the next person up to be the next person let go. Because nobody's going to do this, right? Donald Trump can't do it. There's nobody left to sacrifice. Okay, this is already at too high a level for anybody to be sacrificed. Donald Trump is just going to have to leave some voters behind. And since he's not technically running for anything, right? He doesn't care so much about the Republicans in the House. They're mostly a thorn in his side. Now they're demanding he release those files. And that's why Mike Johnson, his ally, a Republican actually called him Micro Johnson. I thought that was funny. But Mike Johnson, basically abetted the cover up in the biggest way humanly possible. There's nowhere else to go but up on this, guys.
Grant,
and even if Donald Trump didn't do something wrong, he is the cover-up now. He's the walking cover-up of these files.
We'll probably find a heavily redacted Epstein list will come out.
Never.
Or a file will just be redacted beyond belief.
You've actually piqued my interest a little bit, Grant. You've brought up multiple times on this interview so far, the Democrats have not been paying attention. and because to Florida and the way that translates to the national stage with Donald Trump. Now,
well, where do you think Occupy Democrats came from?
Sure. No. I totally understand that.
We all grew up in Florida,
no,
right?
No, that's
Omar
fine. No. I understand. Totally get it.
Occupy
Totally get
Democrats. That's where we met, right?
That's fair.
And of course, I mean, I'm just saying, like, we all sprung out of Florida.
So, yeah.
And the reason that we're conversant
so my question
is because we have to talk with people who are on the other side.
No, that's fair. My question is what you piqued my interest on is you said that there's others that need to be paying attention in the Democratic Party and that they're not. And this hasn't translated well to the national stage in the party. Who would you want to talk to? And what would you want to tell them to try to get that train turned around?
Well, I mean, first of all, if somebody is out there and doesn't know Nikki Fried yet, support her. She actually knows what she's doing in Florida politics, okay? She has a special little badge on her politics vest as the only elected statewide Democrat since 2012, okay? She knows Florida. She knows North Florida. She knows South Florida, knows Central Florida, knows the law, knows the legislature, knows the politics, knows the people. Like, you gotta go with her. I know her. I've interviewed her. Like, she is the real deal. People need to get behind her.
Okay, that's
but it's
fair.
difficult because there's a lot of division within the party. Second of all, this is not so easy as saying one person in the party needs to do a thing. Okay, the problem is that donors in the Democratic Party need to do a thing, which is to decide to reinvest into Florida, do it early, and just understand that if you want to win in Florida, you're going to have to invest a lot, year-round, every year, and a little bit during elections too, because Florida has an election cycle that is designed to help Republicans. And until you do something to attack structural problems here, it's never going to be fixed. But if you're going to do it, you have to invest and just realize that the bigger the investment, the better you're going to do. But it's not going to happen tomorrow. I mean, unfortunately, the Republican Party of Florida is well organized, and they're funded by every large monopoly and commercial interest in the state.
What if we just all got together like a mercenary group of the Expendables? You, me, Jason, Omar, everybody. We just get them all together. We dress up. We cosplay it up like Kristi Noem, right? Just go start kicking doors in. And let's just see what happens. That seems to be what they do, right? They just dress up and just throw people out and just start.
Cosplay is for kids.
Doing all the cosplay crap,
I'm actually
right?
a reporter here. Okay, this is not cosplay.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's catching your state policemen conducting political policing and catching retaliation for it. This is not a game. There's no cosplay here. The problem is that nobody is serious about empowering the grassroots in the local level in a big state like Florida, because frankly, and this is not a failing of the state party, but just in general, our Democratic Party is a very small organization, very clubby, and not really interested in letting go of those personal perks and, gold star titles on the vest.
I think that's typical in many different cities. I've talked to people even here, Grant. And that's
I mean, people are very adamant about being the Democratic something, but the reality here is that they're not leading the Democratic voters effectively.
That's fair.
If we want Democrats to become a really important political party again, and not just a block of voters, right? Then we need a political party that understands grassroots organizing, does things on the local level, and then moves things up the ladder to the national level. Right now, we don't have that as a party.
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, in your time in politics, have you seen a time where one party has such a large amount of just willing participants like the Republicans have, who would just literally believe every single thing you say? Because I can't.
No, I haven't seen any other true cults like theirs. But I mean, past bubbles of the Republican Party have been, somewhat similar. A little bit less cohesive.
Tea Party had a little vibe to it.
But I mean, this is, we're in the information age, which means there's less information because of all this corporate consolidation. People in power want less media. They want less comedy. They want less reporting. They want less journalism. They want less of everything, right? What they want is more money in their pocket and to do as little as possible to get it. Look at Warner Brothers Discovery, right?
Yeah.
They came in and, just chop, threw everything in the garbage, took their tax write-offs, cut down on what they're doing. And the entire industry is doing that because there's a small handful of players. And unfortunately, we've let our economy turn into this system of power players, right? The Sherman Antitrust Act, it used to be a big deal. Now, does it even exist? I would say under Republicans, absolutely not. Under Democrats, it starts to, but you have to make it 8 years. And after 8 years, you might have one company close to something. Really, to enforce that law, you need decades because of the power and money that corporations amass. So, here we are.
We're seeing another tech merger now with Paramount and some of the moves.
Well, entertainment. It's Skydance buying Paramount.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more of an entertainment merger, but it's a media and journalism merger for sure, and a bad one. Look at the settlement with CBS and Stephen Colbert. That's what they invited me on to Newsmax to talk about today. Yeah. And I said, it's pathetic. This is like V for Vendetta.
Uh-oh. Well, we might have lost.
Here we are.
There he is. He's back.
So, people, here we are, and, the president is starting wars in the Middle East without going to Congress. The price of beef is jumping 10% in 6 months, which is a 20% annual rate, right? And what is Donald Trump concerned about? Who's going to be on late night television?
Right. We have a country that is literally not running at all right now. Literally, it's just
and we
not
have a bunch of
all.
media corporations that are just enthralled to this guy. They're deathly afraid. These corporations have money and lawyers. They could fight, every single one of them. In fact, fighting would bring them a tremendous audience. Instead, they're committing they're just committing long-term suicide, or let's just say slow burn suicide by kowtowing to Donald Trump. Look at the law firms that kowtowed to Donald Trump. They're losing clients, and the law firms that stood up and showed a spine, they're winning in court every day.
As I said on the show multiple times, Jason, it's a coup in slow motion. That's what we are witnessing over the next 4 years. A coup for the United States
coup happened
government.
already. No, the coup happened already.
You think so?
Yes, it's a deconstruction.
Okay.
And by the way, the idea of deconstruction is this very high-minded academic idea, right? About deconstructing something to understand it. But, through the history of this deconstruction idea, there also is this idea of shock therapy. Shock therapy is always destructive, right? Naomi Klein wrote a book about this, shock therapy. And it's always destructive. You destroy institutions, you destroy institutional knowledge, and so these are the kind of basic ideas that these guys are running on. Their idea is shock and awe, but it's internal, and it's directed against U.S. citizens. Russell Vought, perfect example. Donald Trump lied his ass off, said that he was going to blacklist everybody involved in Project 2025. And Russell Vought is basically the COO of the United States government. I met Shalonda Jones, the last head of the office of OMB, and she is a freaking brilliant person. You need to be smart to be the head of OMB. You are the COO of the government. And this guy Vought said his personal idea was, we're going to terrorize these federal employees.
That's so crazy.
Do you think Donald Trump is on board with this idea of deconstruction, or do you think a large group of Republicans found an empty vessel that will just do whatever? Because I don't think he cares. I don't think he knows.
Let's go backwards a step here. Let's go backwards a step, because you're talking about Donald Trump, right? But what is Donald Trump at his core?
A narcissist.
He's a populist.
Sure. But what is Trump at its core? What is Trump?
Well, it's a brand.
Money, it's a brand.
It's a brand.
Yeah.
And what is a brand?
It's
an empty vessel you fill things with.
That's
correct.
right.
No, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Donald Trump, being an empty vessel, doesn't care about the bad things that happen. He just doesn't care.
No, we've said on the show he's the most transactional person I've ever seen in my life.
Right, but what's at the heart of the narcissism you mentioned? What's at the heart of a narcissistic personality disorder person?
A fail of love.
What is the core?
A fail of love. They haven't been loved.
It's achievement.
Maybe, but what is it? Come on, let's go deeper.
He wants achievement.
What makes them?
It's the power, the money. Look what I've done. Look what I've done.
The callousness. They have absolute
that's the transactional
callousness. No, that's not the no.
Or
It's the root of everything else.
He can
if
push
you
you
can't
away, and it
feel
doesn't
empathy,
matter.
The lack of empathy. I see what you're saying. Okay.
if you feel no empathy for other people, right?
Yeah.
This is how people behave. I mean, it's so alien to a normal person that they all run around trying to comprehend it using rational ideas like, this doesn't make sense. If I had a nickel for every time I heard a Democrat say, this doesn't make sense when talking about the many things the Republicans do, I'd already be a billionaire.
Yeah, I mean, the lack of empathy, that's part of his narcissistic personality disorder.
It's the core.
That's it.
The core.
Because
when you start
don't
looking at
care,
it that way,
it makes it so much easier to just follow along with anything anyone wants.
right. It's like, look, think about how you are when you play a video game. Do you care about killing the other characters in the video game?
That's a good example.
No, you're trying to score points. You got your gun. You're clicking. Here we are.
And you want to show everybody in the room with you how cool you are at what you do. So,
right.
Nope, I get it.
This is like the ultimate exercise, like Call of Duty, right?
Right.
Like, just imagine that you played life like Call of Duty. You went around, but that's obviously more extreme. But the narcissist is just, they don't want to get caught. So they're not going to go out and do something that's going to get them in jail, but they're going to test the boundaries.
Now, Grant,
and see how far they can go.
He's definitely done that.
Time for us to get out of here on the Occupy Democrat show. So we're finishing up here. But before we get off of here with you, I have one last question for you, sir.
Sure.
That question is simply this. Are you scared of Donald Trump? What about you? We've talked about everybody else. We've talked about the way I know that you're willing to take people on. What about Donald Trump? You going to take him on?
I mean, I've been taking Donald Trump for a decade now.
That's fair.
I'm not planning on stopping.
That's fair too.
You know, I mean, the First Amendment is a great piece of paper, and it takes something to enforce it. And I ain't seeing a lot of somethings lately. But the reality is, there's not a really good plan B here. I'm not one of these people who's planning on moving to Canada.
That's fair.
You know, I'm from Florida. I'll be staying here. And that's a fact. In fact, I'm getting ready to launch a new show on the Occupy Democrats Network in the next, let's say, 6 weeks or so. We're going to call it The Grant Stern Show.
Okay.
How about that one?
We're down.
You know,
There
we're
you
working
go.
on that
It's got a
brand
ring
for
to it.
47 years and a week now.
There
so,
you go.
You know, I might as well just go with it, right?
Hell yeah, dude. I think that that's amazing. I want more and more great voices showcasing themselves on Occupy Democrats because I think that it takes all of us to fight this fight. I don't think it's one person or one stance or belief. I think it takes a little from Mark, a little from Jason, a little from Grant, a little from this guy, a little from that guy. It takes a lot of us all together to get to the top. So that's what I want to see, success with Occupy Democrats. And I want to see us changing that game, Jason, with Grant. You know what I'm saying? Grant, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on the Occupy Democrat show, sir. We'd love to have you again.
You got it, guys. Thanks for having me on. Good to see you guys on the network.
Oh, thank you very much. We'll see you guys. All right. That was Grant Stern, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much to Grant for being on the show. We really appreciate him taking the time out of his busy schedule, as we stated. And that's going to do it for us on this episode of the Occupy Democrat show. I mean, I don't need to add more to what Grant said. You don't need to add more to what Grant said.
Well, I would add that we lost a big part of my childhood today.
Oh.
And we cannot end this show without acknowledging the immense talent of Ozzy Osbourne.
That's true.
It's a brutal loss. It's a loss that obviously
you even wore your Sabbath shirt.
I even wore that. I had many of them. It's something we all saw coming. So but its impact is not lessened by knowing it was going to happen. It's a huge thing. Black Sabbath are a massive band.
Definitely one of the people that influenced me the most, especially in the late 80s, early 90s, when I'm like 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, you know, like those first days of high school and stuff like that.
He was everywhere, right?
I was getting a lot of influence from other people. Remember, this is even before pagers, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
This was a phone on the wall, and that's the only way you talk. So your influence was literally from the people around you. I was being told, listen to Blizzard of Oz, listen to this, listen to that. Great stuff. By the way, you know, Ozzy, I'll see you on the other side, bro. That's going to do it for us on this episode of the Occupy Democrat show. My name's Mark Bland.
And I'm Jason Cole.
And you can find us at all that information down there that pops up whenever it does. Outside of that, there you go, right
go to
there.
those
Or
places.
the Occupy Democrat
Look
show
at that
that's usually up
name,
there. All that good stuff. Make sure. And thank you so much to Grant Stern.
Yeah, it was a great
Once
interview.
again for being on the show. We really appreciate it. We're excited to be a part of Occupy Democrats. And we look forward to talking to all of you again on Thursday. We will see you on the show.